subscribe. It's now or never, boys and girls.
The story begins with a beautiful police officer named Misaki, conducting a raid alongside her fellow officers. She is on a mission to find the leader of a notorious criminal organization. This group specializes in kidnapping young girls, subjecting them to torture, and broadcasting the atrocities on the internet. Misaki then began her action, boldly infiltrating the kidnapping site. She eliminated everyone involved in this crime. Afterward, she inspected all the bodies she had taken down, and suddenly, a statue in the room fell. Upon further investigation, she was shocked to find a hidden figure, a woman. The woman turned around, revealing herself to be Misaki's younger sister. Misaki was shocked to see her younger sibling involved in a crime. She quickly urged her sibling to flee from the scene before other police colleagues arrived. After the incident, Misaki was still in shock, wondering how her younger sibling could be involved in that organization. Shortly after, she saw her sibling approaching. She immediately hugged them, realizing that they hadn't seen each other in years. Mifuyu, Misaki's younger sibling, asked why Misaki let them off the hook in that situation. However, Misaki remained silent, pulling out handcuffs without uttering a word. However, once again, Misaki had no intention of capturing her own sister. Mifuyu then handed Misaki a phone, and on the other end, a disguised male voice could be heard. Misaki spoke with the man on the phone, and he identified himself as Joseph. Joseph proceeded to threaten Misaki, stating that he would report her for letting her sister escape if she didn't comply with his demands. On the flip side, a homemaker was chatting with her friend through a game. Her friend shared a link, and she opened it, seeing a video of a woman being tied up. However, she wasn't interested and closed her laptop. Later that night, she tried to flirt with her husband, but he wasn't interested. At the same time, Misaki urged her friend to pay attention to the video, while she observed it in a separate room. In the video, a woman is seen being tied up, and a man is engaging in inappropriate behavior. Unconsciously, Misaki began to feel aroused as she continued watching the video. Suddenly, Joseph called her. He instructed her to go to the designated restaurant, where she was directed to enter the restroom at the very end. Joseph then ordered Misaki to take off her clothes. Initially reluctant, Misaki refused, but Joseph threatened to report her for letting her sister escape. Reluctantly, Misaki removed her clothes. Joseph then asked Misaki to send him naked photos. After being sent, Joseph told Misaki again to take off her lower clothes and told her to dance. Misaki, who couldn't do anything, complied with Joseph's request. Without realizing it, Misaki enjoyed it. After complying with all of Joseph's requests, Misaki was given evidence by Joseph in the form of a ring. The ring belongs to the woman in the video. After the incident in the restroom, Misaki encountered the woman's husband featured in the video. She revealed the ring given by Joseph, but the husband was clueless about his wife's situation. All he knew was that she had been kidnapped. Misaki then showed him the video of his wife, and the husband was immediately shocked and saddened by the sight of his distressed spouse. Back to the housewife, apparently, she was interested in what was in the video. She was masturbating while watching the video. Suddenly, someone knocked from outside. It turned out to be the courier who was delivering the package. Because she was still carried away by the atmosphere, she imagined all sorts of things about the courier. After that, she returned to masturbating, even worse. This is an illustration that the video could have an effect on others. Misaki wants to stop it. Half exposing the mastermind behind all this, Misaki sacrifices her body. Joseph keeps playing games with her over and over again. The actual facts of what happened in the video are that the woman in the video is named Shizuko, and the man is named Eddie. Shizuko not only experiences pain during the torture but also finds pleasure in the treatment. On the other hand, Eddie is unfazed by the act, carrying it out without feeling anything. Returning to Misaki, to calm her troubled mind, she engages in training. Before long, her superior finds her and instructs her to stop the case. Misaki refuses to comply with her superior's orders, determined to put an end to the crimes committed by the organization. At the same time, the housewife felt the impact of the video. She then headed to a crowded place, wearing just a jacket that covered her body. Spotting a man sitting alone, she approached him, opened her jacket, revealing she was wearing nothing underneath, and playfully teased him. Without Masaki's superior's knowledge, she secretly struck a deal with Joseph to meet him in person. Joseph agreed, but there were conditions she had to comply with. Upon reaching Joseph's location, she was treated as depicted in the video, but Masaki couldn't resist any longer. She found herself enjoying Joseph's actions towards her. After that, Joseph assisted Masaki in approaching the organization by persuading her to willingly become a pawn within the organization. Masaki reluctantly took on this role in order to put a stop to the organization's malicious activities. The shocking truth unfolds. As it turns out, Shizuko was not abducted but rather sold by her husband to settle his debts. Out of love for her family, she reluctantly agreed to become a slave in that organization. While serving as a slave, Shizuko unknowingly finds herself falling for Eddie, the man who torments her. Before long, Masaki also becomes a slave in the organization and is scheduled to be broadcasted on the internet. The organization even invites some guests to witness the live performance featuring Shizuko, Eddie, and Masaki. One of the directly invited guests is the housewife. The show started, Shizuko and Masaki started to be tied up. Then the host invited guests to come up to the stage to torture these two women. The housewife raised her hand and climbed the stage. He was a big fan of Shizuko as long as he watched the video. The housewife starts the show. During the performance, the housewife saw Shizuko's eyes looking at Eddie, so she assumed that Eddie and Shizuko were in love. After that, the housewife also offered to be part of the show, and Eddie tortured the three women. In the final show, Eddie and Shizuko were asked to have sexual relations. The show was almost over, but suddenly, they played a video. It turns out that Shizuko and Eddie are mother and daughter. They were both very shocked and sad.